Steven, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Let's go.
All right, let's get it. So what's up, everyone? This is going to be a great episode for a lot of different reasons. Steven's watching the game as well. Chargers Chiefs, so we'll be able to get some updates as the game goes along. Although when we put this out, it will be a little bit later. It'll still be cool to end up having in-game commentary, kind of sort of similar to like Payne and Eli do. But we'll end up having that. We do have a lot on tap, but before we get to that part, I just want to always say thank you to everyone that continues to listen and watch the show. Thank you to everyone that does reach out to us and then asks us to do like small different like partnerships. We did work with Beat Thugs, and then we did see someone in the other comments end up saying Beat Thug Gang, so we do like to see that. I did do a giveaway with them of $50, so that was something that was cool. Just going forward. Something I do want to bring up before we keep going, Steven, just keep everyone updated on what's going to be happening with Quick Slants as we go forward. And what are your thoughts on how you're going to progress with that?
My thoughts. So I thought I think I've mentioned this a bunch of times. I mentioned it on the Quick Slants that I thought that I was going to have to generate a lot of content this offseason. But if we're strictly talking college football, the content generates itself usually. There's always something going on. Whoa. What is that? Well,
champagne today.
My guy. Yo, it is you know what? All right, I'll get to that at the very end. I know why you're drinking champagne, so I'll get to that at the end. But in the world of college football, the content just generates itself. I mean, in the sports world, there's always a new story every single day. You can go on ESPN.com and I can just go through a rundown of all those stories on the side and have hours of content to talk about. So once the bowl game is over, which by the way, I'll be there. I think I mentioned it last week. I'll be down there with Jay Hill. Once the bowl game is over and we get back from the holidays and everyone gets settled back in for the new year, we'll start talking about. We'll kind of expand. We'll keep talking about Penn State football because that's what it's geared towards. But I'll talk about other things in the college football world, dive into the NFL because they'll kind of be getting close to the playoffs at that point. NBA, NHL, we'll kind of dive into all different sports. But I'm going to put out one more episode before the holidays next week because obviously once next week comes around and it gets to this point of the week, it's going to start to get crazy for everybody with families and all that kind of good stuff. So I'll put out one more episode before the holidays and then take a little break, enjoy the family time, enjoy the holidays, enjoy the trip to Tampa, and then I'll bounce back early January and we'll get rolling again.
So another thing I wanted to bring up, because Steven brought that up, I was talking to Steven before the show, and I just want everyone to know that we will start to put out, I would say 3 to 4, I don't want to overpromise, 3 to 4 videos a week. So what it'll be is we'll have our main one on Wednesday or Thursday that we end up recording, but during the week, I will do smaller ones where we'll be like more of the cryptocurrency news that are out there and then maybe scores. So I'll be able to touch on like what happens in like the NFL or even in the NBA and stuff like that. But the major news will always be saved for this episode. So if you always tune in every single week to see that, you'll end up still getting your major news here, but it'll be like the minor news that happen going forward. So that's kind of the big thing that we're looking forward to that. We'll touch more on why that's going to be the case as we get to the end of the show. As always, we're going to end up telling you the layout in the beginning of the show so you can end up skipping through if you want to. So we're going to start with the fast break in a second, then we'll end up going into the cryptocurrency news. Then we'll swerve over into the sports side and we'll touch on the NFL, NBA, and then we have a couple of quick hitters when it comes to different news and notes that are in the NFL and other sports like that, such as Williamson. But what we're going to do is get right into the fast break. And I don't think Steven's seen this one. He might have seen this, but dang it. All right. Have you seen this one?
I have seen that one. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Someone said it was the most chaotic video they've ever seen. And I truly believe that. Yeah.
So I'm not going to set the scene too much because I want everyone out there that wants to watch it to watch it. I think it's easier for everyone to understand everything with the volume off because that just adds to the chaos. When you have the volume on, then you see everything that's going on. It's the craziest thing I've seen in a minute, but I'll play it. To start, someone clearly got into action right here, and we'll kind of walk through everything that goes on. So this is what I thought the whole thing was.
I think it was in Cleveland. I think when I first saw it, and you got my guy right there who definitely made a wrong turn. So there definitely could have been another accident right there.
So we saw the first accident. Then you see the white truck that's over there clearly doing whatever it wants to do. And then when you get to this point, you're like, all right, you see that. Then you see this Raleigh race car just come out of nowhere. And
there's just no way it's street legal, you know?
No,
like
it's not.
and you can only imagine if you haven't seen this video. If you haven't seen this video, you can only imagine what the commentary. What is he doing, bro?
I also want to know how big the person is that's in the car. I've always wanted to know how big that person is.
I mean, that looked like a grown. That first of all, that is a bad accident.
It is. Yeah, the way it happened too.
And then it's funny because this dude just creeps in and
hits nothing.
And he obeys the traffic laws. He waits for that guy to go. And he makes his left turn, and then he cuts a donut. Yo, and like he looks like a grown man.
He does. That's what I was trying to figure out. Like, how big is this person?
But like everyone's acting like it's normal. Like
this
dude does this. This dude does this every day.
Yeah,
like he does. Like he drives down to the store, get his stuff. Like people have seen him in the parking lots and everything. Like they know him.
Yes,
they know him.
That's exactly how it is. So I wanted to start with that. That was the fast break one. The next thing I wanted to get into is the cryptocurrency side. So a lot of people are saying various different things when it comes to cryptocurrency. Just to go over the prices, we have Bitcoin sitting at a little over 47,000, well, close to 48,000. Ethereum is at 3,900. Continue to pay attention to Ethereum because it was over $4,000 not too long ago. The next one we have is Binance Coin, and Binance will always be up there. Then you have a Tether, Solana, US dollar coin, Cardano, XRP, Polkadot, and number 10 we have Avalanche. So Avalanche has been doing well as of recent. They had a big partnership, whereas one of the stable coins ended up going on to Avalanche's blockchain, so that's important. You do see Luna that's there as well. So that's just an overview of the top 10. I'm not going to go in depthly onto the prices because more so the prices have been the same. I don't always like when you see the people talk about the price day after day because it's going to be volatile. So you end up repeating the same prices each day. So I more so just like to end up explaining if there's any news or notes that are up there. Solana is starting to stay in the top 10, which is very important because they're continuing to do a lot and they're working on their NFT marketplace all the time. And then Avalanche is up there. Polkadot is another promising one. Pay attention to Alleged Zero that is coming out. That's a blockchain that I am very much excited for and looking forward to seeing what happens with Alleged Zero. Going into some of the news that we do have just in the cryptocurrency world. So a big one is, I got to say thank you to B-Thugs. We did work with them to help promote their NFTs that they were putting out there. And then we did a giveaway of $50 out there for them. So that's the first thing I just want to say thank you to them for. The next thing I do want to end up showing everybody is an NFT project that I think is very cool. And a lot of people will start to end up looking into it, but it's going to be on OpenSea. So we're not going to go deeply into what NFTs are, but I just want to end up showing everybody what this NFT is. So it's called Clone X. And the cool part about it is they just actually had a partnership with Nike. So Nike acquired Artifact, and it's something that some people out there probably do know about. You start to end up seeing a lot of other people promote it and talk about it. So here's some of the Clone X NFTs that are there. Hopefully if it ends up loading. But so these are some of the different ones. And the big part is you'll end up being able to put shoes that potentially will be an Artifact Nike collaboration on them. And think about all this in like the metaverse. Some might seem cool. Some might be like, what the hell is this? But it's more so the details that are behind a lot of these NFTs and how much time it takes. And then the big part is with Nike end up acquiring Artifact, the important part about this is Adidas is going to have to do something. Then what is Reebok going to do? Then what is Shopify and all these other companies going to do? If Nike set the precedent for acquiring an NFT company and Artifact, and they're doing so much amazing things. I have to say a huge shout out to Alt Anonymous. We've talked about him. Well, I've talked about him a lot on the show. because Alt has been a huge proponent of Artifact a long time ago when he said, make sure to get a meta pigeon. That's what Steven always laughs at, or like these different shoes and stuff. And if you acquire and hold on to one of these different first artifacts, then you would be able to get one of the Clone X or even be a part of like the Mint Revival that they had. So if you want to end up getting one, it is not too late. The floor price currently is 4.7 ETH. So if we do the math really quick, and I'll show you how much 4.7 ETH is, that comes to around a little over, I would say, it's over $16,000 for one of these at this point. It is crazy. It's $18,000. So that's basically what that is. Just wanted to end up showing you what one of their NFTs looks like. The next thing I want to talk about is Kevin Durant did do a partnership with Coinbase. The important part about this is Kevin Durant and Rich Kleiman were actually early investors in Coinbase. So it's not a super surprise if you're one that has followed what Kevin Durant and Rick Kleiman have been doing, because they've been doing a lot when it comes to cryptocurrency and stuff. And it's an easy transition for Kevin Durant to just make the partnership with them. So congratulations to Kevin Durant on that one. You start to see what the NFT space is doing right now when it comes to the Golden State Warriors. I'll bring that news and notes up in a little bit. Then you see what Tom Brady's doing. You see what Saquon Barkley is doing, and you'll start to pay attention. It seems like the price is going down, but it's always good when the market is down to create these different partnerships and acquisitions and do the investing now. Then why do it when the price is skyrocketing? And then a lot more people won't want to get involved. Another thing I wanted to bring up is the debt ceiling. So the debt ceiling by Jay Powell and everyone in Congress, they increased it by $2 trillion. So you can just do the math. We're not necessarily paying off our debt. We're just increasing it. And then we're just paying off the debt we have with a new debt. So you will start to notice that that's another reason why Bitcoin is important. We have so much debt in this country because we're still paying so many different people back. When it comes to the Queen, we're still paying them, and then China, and all these different things you're doing now because of COVID, we're still having to increase the debt. So pay attention to what's going to happen going forward with the debt, because people are going to look for stronger assets to put their money in if the value of the dollar continues to decrease. 3 things I want to bring up. Cryptocurrencies that everyone should look into, because I always say that I'll try to end up, before we go there, I am not a financial advisor. This is just my opinions and for informational purposes only. But 3 cryptocurrencies that potentially have a lot of gains in them. One is Etherprint. So I've been talking to one of the main devs that are out there. Etherprint is based on the Avalanche blockchain. What you end up doing is you buy Etherprint, the ticker symbol is ETHP. And what'll end up happening is every time people end up buying or selling, you will get a percentage of the transaction fees that are there. So you get it distributed back to you in Ethereum. So that's something that's important. The market cap, the last time I checked, was around $5 million. Another one is MCC. That's the ticker symbol. It's multi-chain capital. So this is a big one because they just had their version 3 launch. And it's important because a lot of big Twitter influencers are a part of it, and they're able to do cross-chain farming. So that's something important, that you can end up buying MCC on the Binance Smart Chain or on the Ethereum blockchain, and you'll end up getting rewards and distributions called reflections back to you. So pay attention to those 2. Another one I want everyone to continue to look into is Luxo. So I'm not going to do all the talking in this episode for you, but just look at what they do with Artifact. Look at what they're doing with Dematerialize. Pay attention to what Marjorie and Fabian are both doing, and you will start to see the price is increasing over time. Look up and look into universal profiles. That's something else. So those are the main 3. Another one I always bring up is Check. So they're in the self-sovereign identity. So those are 4 for you, and we'll put this in the header when we put the video out there. Just pay attention to those 4. Don't say we are not giving you any gems on the show. And I told you all last month that I'll make sure to have good picks for you all this month, so you all can have a good Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas, and hopefully you can make some sort of money. I can tell you this much, that I put in $500 because I just wanted to show you all, put in $500 in the Etherprint to start, and I was able to flip that into $4,000. So what I end up doing is you can end up doing reflections. You can take some out. I'll be honest, I took some out. You can pay off some credit cards and stuff like that, or do other things of that nature. So those are just 4. I want to go over into the stock market really quickly. and say two stocks that everyone should look into are Square and Tesla. Tesla is sitting less than $1,000 per share. What's important about that is Tesla at one point was over $1,200. So watch for it to hit around $910. And between $900 to $910 would be a good buy. Square is sitting at a good point as well. And a huge shout out and big congratulations to Apple, because they at one point hit a $3 trillion market cap. What everyone does not realize is a $3 trillion market cap is unheard of. There are not that many companies out there on the New York Stock Exchange that are over $1 trillion. The main ones that everyone knows about: Google, Apple, Microsoft. Facebook was at one point, but due to the pullback, it came underneath it, aka Meta. And then also we have Tesla that was sitting up there as well. So when the market continues to go forward again, we will see a lot more companies sitting over $1 trillion market cap. And also in that category, you can put Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is sitting near $1 trillion market cap. The final thing I do want to bring up is FTX. So FTX created a partnership with the Golden State Warriors. And what they did is they will hold the global rights for cryptocurrency and NFTs for the Golden State Warriors and their G League affiliate as well. So inside the arena, they will end up having like FTX around there. Keep in mind, they did acquire the naming rights to the Miami Heat arena. So it's the FTX arena. But so also with that being said, now if they have like Steph Curry NFTs or random other NFTs, it'll be through FTX. And it's important for them to get a stronghold on the cryptocurrency space, because there's other exchanges out there that are trying to do similar things. So that's the big things over there in the cryptocurrency side of things. We are going to segue in, since we were talking about money in the cryptocurrency side, we're going to segue into sports really quick. And I want to start with the Travis Hunter stuff. So can you explain to everyone out there, Stephen, who Travis Hunter is and what the big deal is with everything going on?
So Travis Hunter, by all accounts, is, well, let's start from the beginning. Yesterday was, in college football, there are now two national signing days. There's the one that everybody who knows college football is familiar with, which is in February. Yes, but now there's this early signing period, which happened yesterday. And you don't have to sign in early signing period. A lot of guys might wait until, signing day, the official one in February, take more visits, all that kind of good stuff. Might not be ready to make their choice yet. But the nation's overall number one prospect, Travis Hunter from Georgia, I think it was. By all, there's multiple different websites. There's multiple different websites that give ratings and rankings for players and teams and everything. But Travis Hunter, by all accounts, is number one, 5-star kid. He's a cornerback. Some have it listed as an athlete. He can play all over the place. 6'1", 6'2", 190-pound cornerback, which is for a high school kid that's massive. Came out, he was committed to Florida State for a very long time, and he rose up in the rankings and was committed to Florida State for, like I said, a very long time. And then Georgia came along, and there was rumors early yesterday, and I follow recruiting more than a lot of people I know. So I was staying on top of this, and I was checking everything out and checking all the websites, and there were rumors that he might be flipping to Georgia, and that was one. And then the bombshell came out. Yeah, he did. And then the bombshell came out that he might be flipping to Jackson State, which is where Deion Sanders is the head coach at. And everyone knows Deion Sanders, primetime coach prime. Jackson State won 11-1, won the SWAC championship. They're going to the Celebration Bowl, which is for the HBCU teams, and they go there. And Deion Sanders is Deion Sanders. So it was a last minute thing. And if anybody knows college football and knows how high school recruiting goes, a lot of these kids will put the hats on the table in front of them. We've all seen it, whether you're a fan or not. You've seen it in some way or another. There's always these last second decisions and commitment flips and decommits and all that kind of good stuff. So Hunter decommitted from Florida State on signing day and did the whole hat thing, and he did Georgia and I think Florida State then threw both those hats, and then someone
legit threw them. Steven is
legit
not telling you what happened. This man disrespected the hat and threw it.
kids do this all the time. Where they'll put the hat on, or they'll put the shirt on, or whatever, and they'll put it on and they'll take it off. It happens all the time. Hunter's not the first one to do it. It happens every single year. And I've seen it. I've gotten my heart broken by a ton of these hats, a ton of them hats. It happens all the time. So, but then he makes the bombshell comes out and he commits to Jackson State, which, you know, I'm sure there are people who maybe like heard the rumblings prior to yesterday that maybe saw it coming, but outside of that, nobody saw it coming.
No.
And it's one of those things where, like, I don't think this is going to be a trend. I don't think not just players going to HBCUs, which I saw a lot of people commenting on that, whether it was positive and negative. Like, why would you go from, commit to Florida State and then go to Jackson State and HBCU, and give up that Power 5, because, kids can do whatever they want, like these kids are 17, 18 years old. Like they at that age, you really don't know what you're doing. But the thing about it is, now that there's these NIL deals, these name, image, likeness deals that kids are getting, and these kids are getting hundreds of thousands, if not upwards of millions of dollars, depending on what your name is. And it's basically, between that and the transfer portal in college football, it's basically free agency. It's basically a professional.
It really is. Yeah.
Like I'm sure they go to class and all that, but as well as I do, I mean, come on, you're right.
You're passing.
Come on. And this is, the NIL, these kids getting deals. It's not like, this isn't like the first time that high school recruits are getting, or college players are getting paid to go to a certain school, or getting paid once they get to that school. Again, all this as well as I do. You're up on it. You might not follow the recruiting trail as hard, but like, how it goes with certain schools. And we all have heard the stories, and I've heard some firsthand accounts from people. And the thing about this Travis Hunter thing was, people said that he was getting deals from company X or people X, and Barstool was one of them. And who knows what the truth is to all that, but Deion Sanders came out and denied it and said that, we don't have any money. It's not like people can't, like, they can say that, oh, he went there because he wanted to go to an HBCU, and he wanted to kind of bring those up, and he wanted to maybe start a trend. And I respect that, and I appreciate that, if that's ultimately what the goal was. But like, you can't sit there and tell me that money didn't play a factor.
1,000%.
1,000%. And it doesn't matter what your situation is. It doesn't matter if you come from a wealthy family. It doesn't matter if you came from the streets. It doesn't matter what neighborhood you grew up in. If a school comes to you and says, hey, we can offer you, 6 figures, 7 figures, and you can help your family, like, okay,
you're gonna take it.
Like, where do I sign? Where's my hat? Where do I, I'm down. So look, who knows if we'll ever be able to figure, if we'll know why he chose to go to Jackson State,
or how long he's going to be there.
Or how long he's going to be there. Like, obviously people are going to keep an eye on him because he was the nation's #1 recruit, and he chose to go there over a Power 5 school, and not just like decommit from Florida State and go to Georgia or Alabama or whatever. He chose Jackson State and go to Deion Sanders and all that stuff. So we'll see how his career pans out, and it's his choice. So like, ultimately, go make your paper one way or another. Go be great. Go do your thing. But it was a very, very talked about situation, positively and negatively, by a lot of it definitely was black and white.
Yeah.
And there was no gray area. It was black and white. And I mean that in like the literal sense of, HBCUs, the people who support that, they were like, let this kid do whatever he wants and help bring them up. Cool. Support that. And then there's the other folks who were like, how dare you, a 17-year-old choose to do something that you want to do? How dare you leave my program as the #1 recruit? And these are all Florida State fans. And I follow the message boards and everything, and people were furious with this kid.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's that guy who's sitting in that Florida State fan who's sitting in his basement with
Yes.
his extra large Mountain Dew, eating some Cheetos,
Mhm.
dropping N bombs and with death threats and all that kind of crap. And
Yeah.
I saw someone, they had a framed Deion Sanders Florida State jersey. Looked like it was signed. Looked like in a nice frame, but they tossed it out and they were going to burn it because Deion Sanders, who's a Florida State alum, one of the greatest college and NFL players ever, took this kid from Florida State to Jackson State. So it was very heavy on the whole college football world. But again, like, more power to the kid. Like, do whatever you want to do, man. Like, it's your decision. Like, there's always the transfer portal. So if you go there for a year and shit's not working out the way you want to, you have an out. You can go back to Florida State or you can transfer wherever you want to go. So more power to the kid though, but people hate it.
So I'll give my thoughts. I have numerous different thoughts. One, I'll start from the HBU side. So a lot of people that know me know, one, where I went to school. We had so many HBCUs around us. So I went to Old Dominion. So we had Hampton University up the street. Then we also had Norfolk State that was not too far away as well. And then you have the ones that are in North Carolina. And then just up here, just going forward. So when I went, before I started going after my master's, I thought about it. I talked to friends that I wanted to go to a HBCU. So HBCUs have always been near and dear to me in terms of this. I'm mixed. And Steve and I have had these conversations a lot before, that it would take money for a lot of these people to end up getting there. Well, long and behold, of course, you have the speculation of potentially it's millions that they were paid, that Barstool paid to Travis Hunter. But again, if you're paying 7 figures, you're not going to say no, regardless. We all know money's involved because HBCUs are not going to get these top tier athletes just yet. You have the people. I remember there was one college basketball player that did a similar thing, and people were wondering, is that going to be a trend or not? I think they went to Howard for some reason.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but yeah, this isn't going to be a trend, I don't think.
It would take a lot of money for people to get there. They don't have it yet.
And I think that I think you'll start to see a lot of the guys who are in the NFL right now who went to HBCUs, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot more than people think who are prominent NFL players and former NFL players. You can go. I saw a list today. You can go look it up, and there are a lot of NFL Hall of Famers that went to HBCUs. And I don't know, I don't know how much, again, I don't know how much these guys give back. Whether it's HBCUs or Power 5 schools or whoever it is, like D3, doesn't matter. I don't know how much these NFL guys get back to those schools, but if they see this happen and Jackson State, continues to rise, and they see all the other HBCUs and FBS schools or FCS, whatever the hell it is, D2, D1AA, whatever you want to call it. I can see it starting to become a trend, like maybe with a lowercase t, but I don't think it's going to become an every year thing where you got signing day and you got these kids flipping and doing this and doing what Travis Hunter did. I just don't see that happening because there is way too much money at these Power 5 schools like Georgia and Bama and Ohio State. All these schools have an insane amount of money that they can give these kids.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes.
The other thing I wanted to bring up with that, because I was talking to one of my friends that went to an HBCU where he played football, and we were just talking about it is good from the sense Travis Hunter can talk to one of the best that are out there at the cornerback position. But the thing we all have to realize is Deion Sanders can't just work with him. He's the head football coach. He's not the DB's coach. So he can't just sit with him one-on-one, but he will be able to give him pointers and talk to him. So that's what I do wonder. The other part is, well, there's 2 parts. The first part is they better protect the hell out of this man in Jackson, Mississippi, because I'm not going to say how many times I've been there, how little times I've been there, but I can promise you Jackson State is one of the main things in Jackson, Mississippi. I will say that they have a big ass stadium that's down there. But the important part about that is Jackson, Mississippi is not the best area. Like, there are rough parts in that area. So y'all are going to protect this man damn near as much as you protect Deion Sanders. Because if some shit happens to Travis Hunter, it's over. But the other part is he's going to have to ball out so much there. If you look at like Tariq Cohen, How do we find out about him? Because he balled out in the bowl games and stuff. That's really how. I knew about Terry Cohen back in college, one, because they called him like Mighty Mouse and stuff like that because he was so quick. And then he made it to the NFL, but he had to ball out. Same with like Tyrann Mathieu. Keep in mind, Tyrann Mathieu was not always at LSU. He had to leave LSU, and he still had to ball out there. They knew he was a good player, but he still had to ball out. So Travis Hunter has to do that. You can't just have 2 interceptions and be like, yep, he's going to NFL. No, he has to have a lot of interceptions. He has to do better than what the cornerbacks are doing at the Power 5 conferences. Because if he just does the same amount or less, it doesn't matter. You have to do above and beyond. It's kind of like someone playing at a private school compared to a public school. The public school person has to play so much harder than some of these wealthy private schools. So that's the big thing that Travis Hunter will have to do. The other thing I wanted to bring up, just talking about, oh, you had something?
Yeah, I don't think this would be I think it would still be a talked about subject, but I don't think it would be talked about nearly as much if he was even the number 2 recruit in the country.
Yeah.
Like if he was number like 65 or 70, or he was
matter.
outside the top 100 or whatever. Yeah, it would just be like, hey, this is a little news story, whatever. The fact that he was like the overall consensus number 1 recruit in the country is like, that's like the main. There's the fact that he went to Jackson State, and it's not like he was down to deciding between Jackson State, Florida State, and Georgia or whatever, and did the hat thing and then made the commitment. He was committed to Florida State and then decommitted and then went to Jackson State. And the fact, obviously, that he was the number 1 recruit in the country. So that plays like that's a complete X factor in all this, is that he's that guy. So, I mean, again, like I say this with Penn State recruiting in general, who the hell knows how these kids are going to do? These kids can come in here 5 stars. It doesn't, like, your rankings don't matter. Everyone says that every time you get to college. Your rankings don't matter. Stars don't matter. It doesn't matter if you're 6'5", 260. It doesn't matter. You need to get there. You need to develop, and you need to learn. You need to play. You need to ball out. You need to become an All-American, all that kind of stuff. Now, if he doesn't, it's not going to be a problem, but it's going to be like, well, as happens when you don't go to Florida State or you don't go to Power 5 school.
That's what happened. Yeah.
His career might have been the same at Florida State. If he doesn't pan out, he doesn't become an All-American or whatever, like, that's cool. Like, that's okay. Like, he doesn't have to be like he does have the ball out, but like, he doesn't have to be like a top 5 draft pick. But he's got to help continue to put, Jackson State and other HBCUs on the map and let recruits know, hey, like, it's okay to skip out on the Power 5 and come here and enjoy yourself and ball out this way. So yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how that pans out.
Yeah. The other 2 college football news that I want to bring up before we go into the predictions. So I got to give a big thank you to ODU Central. So they started following me, and then they retweet a lot of the ODU football recruiting stuff. So if I start talking a lot about ODU football recruiting and who we picked up in like the Hampton Roads area, it's not me knowing it on my own. It's me checking everything that they have. So it's kind of.
You don't got to say that though.
I know, right?
Like, you don't.
My sources.
I do, bro. I don't. I'm cool. It's all right.
Yeah. So I said that because it's become more of a big thing in like the ODU area, just the amount of recruits that they're picking up and what they're doing down there. The boys actually just hit the road today to go down to Myrtle Beach. So good luck to them as they play Tulsa. So hopefully they bring home a W. They were giving out t-shirts and stuff like that, but it's exciting just to see them in it because the recognition will continue to help them as they go forward. The other thing I want to bring up is, what are your thoughts on the Spencer Rattler thing? Before you answer that, I had to look at it like 3 times. You would have thought I was drunk because I looked at the first time. I thought it said Southern California. I was like, oh, he's going back with Lincoln Riley. Looked at it again. I was like, California. I was like, yo, how did that happen? But he put him second to the other kid. And I was like, oh, it says South Carolina. And then I see Steven saying it's a big thing. I'm like, Steven, why is it such a big thing? He's going to Southern California, but it's South Carolina. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Spencer Rattler, for those who don't know, quarterback from Oklahoma, was a prize recruit. Yeah, that too. Was a prize recruit coming out of high school just 3 years ago, I think it was. Heisman favorite heading into this season. and I'm sure he'll be on that list next year. But yeah, it was weird. Like South Carolina, it's not like they don't have Marcus Lattimore, they don't have Alshon Jeffrey, they don't have these dudes anymore. Like Shane Beamer is the head coach there, Frank Beamer's son. Frank Beamer, former head coach at Virginia Tech. I don't know. Like, I'm sure there's some coin there. I mean, there has to be. Like, again,
he's getting more money than he already just got. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, the other crazy thing is that you can't say that these guys are transferring and not putting the money line in there. That saying, quote, there's money involved, or like they're getting this NIL deal. Like, that is happening. And whether like these schools want to admit it or not, or coaches want to say, yeah, he's getting that, or like Deion Sanders, denied that Travis Hunter's getting XYZ from company XYZ or whoever. Like it is happening. Like no one's that dumb to believe that these guys are going to these schools, these maybe lesser schools than where they came from. In both those cases, those schools are, quote, lesser than where they came from in terms of like the national brand that they have, and not getting a significant amount of money in their pocket. And Spencer Rattler, anybody who follows college football knows that he's been one of the most prominent names in the country over the last couple of years. Because he went to Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley learned under him, then he got benched for Caleb Williams, and now he's transferring to South Carolina. And the big thing is Spencer Rattler to the SEC. Like, what's he gonna do? It's gonna be he's got to go through, He's got to go through a lot of teams. Yeah, not just like Georgia and Alabama, but you got to go through. I know some of these teams are down, but any given year, the SEC, one of these teams can surprise you. You got to go obviously through Bama, Georgia, LSU, Florida, Tennessee is coming back. You have Auburn, you have Mississippi State, you have Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, whatever. But like, you have all these dominant programs who have been dominant over the last decade or so. So, in South Carolina has not been dominant. Now, they went 6-6 this year. It's not like they went 10-2 and he went there and he's going to make them a 12-0 team. Like, again, there's a lot of work that's got to be done within that program and within the conference to unseed the Bamas and the Georgias of the world. So I don't know, like, good for him. Again, like, do whatever you want to do. That is going to make you happy and get you to where you want to be at. And ultimately, Spencer Rattler's a guy that wants to get to the NFL. So he thinks this is going to help him. They also got the Oklahoma tight end that was with him there, Jake Stogner, who transferred to South Carolina as well. So he has some, familiarity with him, and some, a good target. So, like the transfer portal and the NIL, like I just said, it just makes it free agency. Yeah, there's got to be guidelines with it. And I was talking to Jay Hill about this. There's got to be guidelines about it. Like, these kids, if you're going to transfer, like, wait till the season's over, or like, if you're going to be in the transfer portal, like, wait till the season's over, which I think most of these kids, unless it's something that just super drastic, most of them wait. But, in the NIL deals, that's got to be regulated somehow. Like, I know there's companies and businesses in these towns that are giving these guys deals and everything, and mega donors for a lot of these schools, and a lot of them are in the South. It's got to be regulated somehow, because on one hand, and I said this to somebody the other day, like, it does bring parity to college football, because it is the same since the playoffs started. It's been the same schools. You have the Georgias, the Alabamas, the Ohio States, the Clemsons, the Oklahomas of the world. And like, I love watching those teams play each other, but it's not going to go from like those, 5 or 6 schools to 25 teams that can make the playoffs. It'll probably go to like, 10 teams, maybe like 12 that can make the playoffs. And that just makes the season that much better. So there's good that comes out of this. But if you have like, we might get to the point where we have 100 guys in the transfer portal. Yeah. And it's just chaos. And I hope it doesn't go that way. You would assume that the ADs and the presidents of these universities and, Mark Emmert, even being I'm not going to say that, but being who he is, that these guys, make some sort of decision like, hey, we need to, control this and keep it this way so it doesn't expand into God knows what. And then we're just like, well, shit, let's just combine college football with the NFL and we'll be all right.
That's going to be the next thing if they don't get a hold of it. Because the academics, everyone's forgetting about that. They still got to go to classes and be there a certain amount of years. So it's going to kind of like throw that part off too.
And the other thing is like, this, like when you would commit to a school, I guess the transfer portal is only a couple years old, but like, 10 years ago, if you committed to a school on signing day, bro, you were locked in.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you knew that if you wanted to transfer somewhere, you had to go and you had to sit out a year and then you could play for that school.
Yeah.
So like you didn't have an out. Like when you committed to a school until, sure, you could decommit before signing day and everything. That happens and still does. But when you signed on National Signing Day and you signed your letter of intent and you sent that into the school, shit, bro, you were locked in.
Yeah, I remember those days.
And again, and if you wanted to transfer, you had to go to a school, and unless you were a graduate transfer, you could at that point you could play right away. But you had to go sit out a year, and like kids didn't want to do that, so like they would be at these schools, and that's what built a lot of these programs up: the Alabamas, the Georgias, and the top programs in the country. But now with the transfer portal, if you get benched in the second half of the first game of the season, shit, bro, you can transfer at halftime.
Yeah.
Like you can say, like I've seen stories recently this season and last season, like they're like, all right, yeah, I'm done. Like I'm like literally quitting at halftime, and they're transferring the next day. It's like, that's fucked up. Like that can't happen. Like there's gotta be some sort of guidelines with this stuff, because it's gonna just get out of control, and you're gonna like some like, I think Indiana, and that was my uncle sent me how many guys are in the transfer portal from each school in the Big Ten. Penn State has 3 right now, which is great. Like there's obviously gonna be players who don't play a lot and they want to go to another program and they want to try and get playing time. That's cool. But Indiana has 19 kids in the transfer portal, bro. That is like almost a quarter of your team.
Wild, yeah.
And some of these, their starting quarterback, Michael Penix Jr., just transferred to Washington. So like, good for them on one hand. You got out of a situation you didn't want to be in. The rules allow you to, but we can't get to the point, and I don't think you can transfer more than once. I don't know how it works. Like you can't transfer every year.
Transfer like every time.
All right. I'm gonna start off from the Big Ten. I'm gonna go to the SEC. I'm gonna go to the Pac-12. And then, all right, now I'm gonna go to the HBCU, and then I'll come back to the Big 12, and I'll finish up at 5th year senior. At Eastern Washington or something like that. I started at Illinois, something. So it has to be guidelines. There's definitely good and bad. It kind of at some point will balance out. But I just don't want to get to the point where it's chaos, because college football is losing a lot of their, the goodness of college football, the purity of college football. It used to be like, again, it wasn't that long ago. You signed to a school, you committed, and you were there.
Yeah,
and that was it. That was end of the conversation. But now it's just like, that's just how shit is these days. And there's no, I don't want to say there's no loyalty, because coaches do the same shit. Like mid-season, they'll leave for another job and everything. So that it does happen. So there's good and there's bad, but I just don't want to get to the point where there's just chaos every single offseason. And it's because of the money and because of kids not, I didn't get to play in the first half. All right, I'm done. Yeah.
So who you got?
That's not how I'm gonna raise Mason, buddy.
I know.
Bro, my guy, when you commit to something, you are there.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be Penn State, just so everybody knows.
Oh my God. So who you got for the playoffs? College football playoffs. What are your predictions?
I got Alabama dismantling Cincinnati. I think I would say that if they were playing Georgia or Michigan, I just think Alabama's that good, but I think they're way better than Cincinnati. And then I got Michigan beating Georgia. I think Michigan is on a mission. I think Aiden Hutchinson is going to definitely keep cementing his legacy at Michigan, and then cement his status as the number 1 player coming into the draft. So I got Bama, Michigan, heading into the national title game, and then I got Bama pulling it out again.
So crazy enough, Steven and I are exactly the same on this one. The reason being, so I have Bama, of course, that's the easier one. If Cincinnati finds some way to end up beating Alabama. I promise you that coach needs to get like Patrick Mahomes type deal.
Bryce Young has to get hurt, probably. That's the only way.
Something like that has to happen. Yeah, they don't have a Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa situation where it's like second quarter, halftime.
Good pronunciation on that one. Nice.
I know.
Nice.
So
well done.
That's
well
the
done.
only way that can happen. In terms of Georgia, Michigan, I feel the committee tried to set it up for it to be Bama, Georgia meeting again.
Absolutely.
But I feel as though Michigan, Harbaugh is just different this year. And the players that he has, they stepped their game up. I get they probably got tired of every single year being like the doghouse and not necessarily being at the next point in the game when it comes to college football. But I have Michigan. I think they need to make sure you're going to need to double team Aiden Hutchinson. That's for starters. Then also you need to pay attention to the running backs. I think also Michigan has a good blueprint because they found out how to beat Georgia. I don't know if they can duplicate what Bama did, but you have the blueprint on what needs to necessarily be done in order to figure out their holes on how to do it. Because one, Bryce Young just said, we just going to throw it over the top. Whatever happens, happens. So they're going to need to use their two quarterbacks correctly to end up doing something similar.
So Georgia, Bama is without their number one, number two wide receiver, whoever you want to look at, John Mechie. He is out. No, is it Jameson Williams is out or John Mechie's out? One of their two top receivers.
Jameson got to keep drinking.
Yeah, he's the one of the receivers is out. So that might help Cincinnati a little bit, but I don't think it does.
Yeah. So other thing is, then I have Bama winning. I would want Michigan to win, but if Bama's in the college football playoffs, I'm not rooting against Bama.
I do not want Michigan to win the national title. I just cannot do that. I can't I want the Big Ten. It would look good for the Big Ten to get a national title. But I can't root for them. Can't do it.
So I want to segue into the NBA since we were talking about college athletes, and I want to talk about Zion Williamson first. One, because he had another injury. I feel two different ways. One, you want to let the kid get his time so that he can get there, but these injuries are starting to add up, and that's kind of like my concern with it. So what are your thoughts with Zion?
Sad, bro.
Yeah,
it's sad. Just sucks because he was, if you follow recruiting, you've known who Zion Williamson is since he was
high school,
14.
Yeah.
And his highlights from high school and into college at Duke were top notch. Just how big he was playing against children, and same shit in college. He was a man against boys. And he was 6'6", 6'8", whatever he is. Who knows how much he weighs? I have no idea. NBA players in general
now.
Yeah, NBA players in general, you never know how much they actually weigh. But I mean, this kid's he's 20 years old, 21 years old, and he's got foot problems. Probably on top of knee shit going on too. When you start talking about foot problems for someone that big that does what he does,
he needs.
Thanks, Christian. He needs. Good luck, bro. Keep sipping that champagne, my guy.
As much.
Yeah, keep sipping that champagne. Bro, I just let him sit as long as humanly possible. I don't care if he misses. This season is over for the Pelicans. They're shit. So, who knows next season? But I would let this kid sit as long as possible. I don't want to see another update from him until he's in the starting lineup, until he's ready to come back. Just let this kid rest as long as humanly possible. He needs it. There's a lot of pressure on him as well because he was labeled as the next big thing. There's been a lot of guys that come through that have kind of maybe gotten that label a little bit, but none since LeBron. No one's gotten it like this, like Zion has. So he's got a lot of pressure. New Orleans sucks. He's in a bad situation there. He's not on a good team. So let him sit, man, as long as possible. Please.
All I'm gonna say about this is a lot of teams I like don't do well with draft picks, but the Memphis Grizzlies did a damn good job choosing John Morant and being like, we're going to go with John Morant at number two.
They were teammates and on the AAU circuit.
And that's what's crazy.
South Carolina.
Because everyone focused on Zion Williamson, and John Morant was the one shooting in the corner half the time. Didn't go to the same big-time school, and he had to ball out where he did go, whereas Zion Williamson was the main one. So that's kind of a big thing. The other thing I wanted to talk about super fast was Steph Curry. So one, I don't know why people are like, who's going to be the next one to beat Steph Curry's record? First off, he's still playing. So that thing is not going to be being anytime soon. Also, he is not that old. So he is still going to be able to put up threes. And third, even when he does become old, he's not going to lose any of like the talent a lot of these players lose, because him and Clay just shoot threes half the damn time. So whereas Kobe and then LeBron and D Wade and all of them, they use their athleticism a lot of times. So when it started to deteriorate, the way that they played regressed too. Steph can shoot threes until he's like 100. Look at Ray Allen. Look at Reggie. They could all do it because they just shot threes. Look at when Kyle Korver was doing it, JJ Redick, all of them had longevity. They just shoot the damn three. So what are your thoughts on the record? And then Auntie.
Shout out to Spike Lee for doing the most. I think once he kind of got going with things, I think a couple of years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, when they were at their peak, the Warriors, when they were winning titles left and right, I think a lot of people assumed that he would get to this point. Now, for him to actually get here is another thing, and like super impressive. So good for him. I want to ask you though, what do you think is more meaningful to their career? Steph getting this, or LeBron eventually, hopefully, becoming the all-time leading scorer? Which is more important to one's career? Because they both got the titles, they both got the MVPs, they both got, they're both widely considered. One's considered arguably the greatest player of all time, and the other one is considered the greatest shooter of all time. And he'll probably be on the NBA Mount Rushmore at some point down the road. Both Hall of Famers, they both changed the game different ways. Which of these records is more meaningful? Steph getting the 3-point record, or LeBron being the NBA's all-time leading scorer?
So everyone that knows me knows no answer is simple for me. So what I'll end up saying to start, it's LeBron, because the all-time scoring record is a big thing. But I also feel for Steph, it's twofold. One, he probably really loves that he finally can live up to everyone in the world just shooting threes. But I think Steph is aiming for like the all-time scoring record too. I don't know if he'll get there, but if you keep shooting threes and LeBron's shooting twos, he might get in the top 10.
I'll tell you that I think the closest active player that can get there, which I don't think he will, is KD. I don't think. Let me actually look. You can keep going, but I don't think. Keep going.
So that was the biggest part when it came to Steph Curry, because I think as though Steph is looked at from a lot of different people in terms of, wow, Steph Curry has changed the game when it comes to threes, same way Allen Iverson changed the game when it came to like the crossover and then the dress and stuff like that. I feel as though it's important, but when you look at the two players that were at the top of it, it's kind of like they did good shooting threes, but then if you look at the all-time point scoring record, how well is it? Because everyone that's on that all-time scoring list was not just shooting threes all the time. A good amount of them were attacking the basket too. And the three-point shot wasn't as important then as it is now.
Right. So LeBron is third all time. Kareem leads the way, obviously, with 38,387. LeBron's got 35,811. So he can definitely get there. He's got to stay healthy, play like 75 games a year, and average like 23, 25 a game. I did the math a long time ago. And he can get it. Yeah, I did. And he can get it in like a couple seasons, but him getting hurt since he's been in LA, man, that really set him back. Like probably like thousands of points. So like thousands, bro. So he's got to stay healthy and play a significant amount of games and average probably like 23, 25 a game. Melo is ninth. Shout out to Carmelo Anthony for being ninth all time, 27,000. Next closest active player is KD. KD's 24th on the list. He's right behind Patrick Ewing. Yeah, Patrick Ewing. He's got 24,000. So he's got 14,000 more points to go to get to Kareem. Especially if LeBron breaks it, that'll obviously be more. Much like Steph breaking the record, it's going to be way more by the time he's done. James Harden is 32nd on the list. And then you scroll all the way down. Steph Curry is 60th on the list. Dwight Howard has more career points than Steph. Steph has 19,000.
It's the twos. I'm telling you, people think it's the threes, but them twos add up.
Yeah, they do, bro. They do. Steph has 19,159. So for context as well, Reggie Miller and Ray Allen, the number 2, number 3 guys now on the all-time 3-point list. Ray Allen is 25th all-time in scoring, right behind KD, 24,000, and Reggie Miller is 21st all-time. He's got 25,000. So, Steph will probably be in that. He is. How old is Steph right now? He is
early 30s.
He is 33. So he's probably got another 4 or 5 legit seasons to go. You would, if he stays healthy, you would think. So, he can probably get up in that 25,000 range, but, that's probably going to be it. KD, KD's got 24,000. He's 3,000 behind Melo right now. I would say KD will probably be up around 5 or 4 by the time
his career is done. This year, hell yeah.
Yeah. And, if he doesn't get hurt and KD's also, he's up there in age too. I mean, he's not young. He's 30. Damn, he's only 33. Shit.
That's why he wants Rolex.
So he's got ways to go too. So, I mean, this list is going to be crazy once LeBron's done, KD's done, and James Harden's on this list too. He's not too far off. Westbrook. So all these guys are going to be filling the top 10 potentially. And that's just kind of just the way the game is these days. But Steph will probably be in that 25,000 to range ish. Then KD will probably be that closer to top 5 than anybody on the list so far.
Yeah. So that was my NBA stuff I wanted to end up bringing up because Steph Curry was the big thing that we couldn't forget about. We'll go into
shout out to Del Curry though.
I know Del Curry.
Shout out to Del shooting his shot. He looked divorced AF.
Yeah, he did. He was
ready. Do it. He was like, my son's about to break the record. I'm at Madison Square Garden. I'm front row. There are honeys everywhere. I am wearing my best fit. And he is going to go out shooting the lights out. And he did. There's pics of him with Instagram models and everything. And you got Sonya Curry up in the nosebleed, it looked like, compared to where Del Curry was. So
I know.
Shout out to Del Curry shooting his shot just like Steph. But anyway.
So I'm going into the NFL stuff. And last time we ended up talking about our NBA challenge and the overall record. So before we go into the NFL records, I would like to say, if we go into the NFL projections, so Steven is 86 and 64, which is above 500, which is good.
Oh yeah, it is.
That's very good. So we've been doing good. And we missed 2 or 3 weeks just because we were busy. And then I am 99 and 51. So it's not that far off. You can easily make 13 games. So it's not that much. And the reason why Steven can make it up is Steven takes risks. And I've noticed that he'll randomly choose a team that is not supposed to win. For example, Detroit Lions against the Steelers all those weeks. And that's kind of how it is. And it's with anything. If you take the risk and you get those W's, that's how it starts to balance out. So we'll start off with the game that's happening tonight. Chiefs and Chargers. Who you got?
I originally picked the Chiefs. So.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to change your answer.
No. I'm sticking with the Chiefs.
So I had the Chiefs as well for tonight. The next game, although I like the Chargers and I love what Justin Herbert's doing, shout out Justin Herbert. He's starting to get a lot of shots shooting his way in terms of Instagram models and stuff like that.
I saw first real quick about him. First quarterback in NFL history to have 30 touchdown passes in his first 2 seasons. So good for him.
And they tried to think that he wasn't going to be the one potentially. And it's like Herbert came to play. One, look where he went to school. So, of course, touchdowns were going to come his way for that. Next one is Saturday game, Raiders-Browns.
Raiders.
So I have the Raiders in that one as well. The Browns, I just never know. They beat the Ravens, but they beat the Ravens, and the Ravens didn't even have Lamar Jackson. So how much can you actually put into that? And they almost lost to the Ravens. So the next one is Pats-Colts.
Pats.
So I have the offensive rookie of the year in that one. So the Patriots. The next game, Panthers-Bills. The Bills will need this one, but who you got?
Bills.
So I have the Bills in this one as well. The Bills need to get a win soon, because if you look where they went from being at the top of the AFC North to now they're fighting wild card spots, the AFC people say isn't that good, but if you get a couple of losses, you start to fall on that mediocre middle ground. So you kind of need to get a win, but I have the Bills in that one. Panthers just are not, I don't know what they're doing. They need to find something. Cam Newton clearly is not Cam Newton anymore. Because yeah, he is definitely scamming teams out there. People believed in him that one game. Christian McCaffrey's injured. So I really don't know what they're going to do going forward. Y'all paying these running backs some money, and they are not going through with it. Derrick Henry injured. Christian McCaffrey injured. Saquon, don't sign any contracts. Just leave. But Cards and Lions.
Yo, he said he wants to be a big part of the reason why the Giants get turned around. And I said, no, you do not. No, sir. I will. No, sir. Don't come back to campus if that's how you're going to be. My guy, come on. Don't do that. I know you're loyal and everything, but don't do that.
So Cardinals, Lions.
Cardinals. They look good. Oh, they are without DeAndre Hopkins for the rest of the season. It seems like.
They said he might come back in the playoffs, but they're out without DeAndre Hopkins, which means pay attention. If you have AJ Green out there in the waiver wire somewhere, pick up AJ Green. He's looking good since he left Cincinnati and has been on the Cardinals. Also, Christian Kirk is another one, and James Conner. James Conner has shown that he is a good running back. Although they have Najee Harris now in Pittsburgh, James Conner is looking good there. So I got the Cardinals in that one. The next one, Jets, Dolphins. Zach Wilson sucks. I don't care what anybody says. Like,
bro, this is such a shitty game. Dolphins.
So I had the Dolphins in that one. Zach Wilson is just not good. You look at when the backups come in compared to when he comes in, that whole offense is different.
It sucks because I watched their game against the Eagles. I think we talked about this last week. He made and I know the game was well out of hand and everything, but he made some good throws, and I'm like, okay, cool. You can, he has a cannon, he can sling it.
Yes,
but man, my guy is way too inaccurate.
He is
way too inconsistent, yes. And he just can't he just loses things and can't read the defense properly and just throws an absolute dime to nobody.
Yeah, that's what he does.
He just throws it up and hopes his guy gets it, and his guy's on the other side of the field. So
Cowboys, Giants.
I got Cowboys and the defensive player of the year this year and Mr. Micah Parsons.
So before I say my pick, the Cowboys defense is nice. I'm not a Cowboys fan, but the Cowboys defense is nice. They have Gregory and Lawrence up front. I will say the best in probably the past 2 to 3 years, the best cornerback linebacker duo I've seen is Diggs and Parsons. I was watching the game and I'm like, how the hell Micah Parsons all the way in the secondary about to catch an interception that he's tipping around with Diggs? There's no way. And those two, you can tell, beat off each other because they can read each other. If Parsons is about to go rush the quarterback, Diggs is able to know he can cheat on a route because more than likely Parsons is about to get there. So the ball's going to come out hot. And if it does go to the main receiver, Luke is going to be there. And shout out to Diggs because Diggs definitely put the straps on McLaurin. I know he got injured, but McLaurin was silent in that game. So I got the Cowboys. I can't ever choose the Giants. Eagles and football team.
Unfortunately, I'm going to go with the Eagles. Your boys.
So I'm going with the Eagles in this one because, one, I don't know what the football team's offense is going to do. Y'all let Heineke get too hurt out there. Kyle Allen is not the reason. Titans, Steelers.
Titans. I'm just not doing it, dude. I went that direction.
It won
2 weeks in a
last
row.
week.
They lost. Yeah, but I didn't pick them.
Yeah, I know.
Picked against them, I think.
Yeah, you picked against them, and they won.
Not,
I mean, they lost.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do it again. It doesn't matter. Steelers suck. Like I'm over the Steelers, bro. I'm so over it. Like, ugh, so frustrating. But you know what else sucks about the Steelers is that like Roethlisberger does good enough to win us enough games where we don't have a good draft pick in the first round, and we always get in like that 18 to 22 range. We can miss the playoffs, but we still get that we just missed the playoffs, so we get like that that 18 to 22 range. And we never trade up. We traded up a couple of years ago to get Devin Bush. That worked out well. So I just want them to tank. Just put Mason Rudolph in there and tank. And
hey, get some first round picks like us. You be good.
Yeah, you'd be good.
Here's another shitty game. Texans Jaguars.
I'm gonna go with the Jags just because
they got no Urban Meyer.
There's no Urban Meyer there anymore. And
he wanted, before we keep going, he wanted to get out of there. I've never seen somebody do so much to get out of a situation.
That was just a complete failure from the moment he got hired. There was not a single person on this entire planet that thought to themselves, you know what? This is going to work out. No. There's not a single fucking person that thought Urban Meyer was going to be able to do for Jacksonville what he did for Utah, what he did for Florida, what he did at Ohio State. There was no way. No way. Urban Meyer is not meant to coach grown men.
And the wild part about that is, so I have the Jaguars in this one because I say free James Robinson. The offense will flourish more now because it seemed like Urban Meyer was trying to hold some people back. But in terms of the contract situation, they didn't want to let him go because you still got to pay him the money. So now you're paying him all this money and he's not even going to be there. So the next game, Bengals Broncos. Yo, Teddy Two Gloves looking good. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm going to go with the Bengals. Where's that at, by the way?
Denver.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bengals.
So I'm going with Teddy Two Gloves. I don't know what it is right now, but the Broncos are in the wild card fight right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yep. Next one. That's your boy.
Yeah. Falcons 49ers.
Niners.
So all I'm going to say with this one is bad defense versus very good running game and extremely good George Kittle. Need you say anymore? The next game, before I tell Steven to end up choosing his picks, so it's the Seahawks versus the Rams, but I just want to give some stats out there for everybody. Cooper Kupp has 1,489 receiving yards, and just for simple math, Matthew Stafford has thrown for completed passes of 3,898 yards. That equates out to 38% of Matthew Stafford's passing yards have gone to Cooper Kupp, which is 1 out of every 3 passes has gone to Cooper Kupp. And in terms of targets, Matthew Stafford has thrown the ball 468 times, and Cooper Kupp has 151 targets, which means 32% of the time he is targeting Cooper Kupp. If you can't tell, that's his favorite receiver. Like Odell Beckham is starting to do well. I feel bad for Robert Woods because if Odell Beckham keeps this up, they might move Odell Beckham to that number 2 receiver going forward. And then Robert Woods and Van Jefferson got to fight over like 3, 4, 5. Although pay attention, Robert Woods wasn't necessarily as happy in that position even before he got injured. But who you got? Seahawks, Rams?
I'm going to go with the Rams. Also, speaking of Stafford, I don't know. I think I texted you after his second touchdown pass.
That was nice.
Bro, the two touchdown passes that he threw, the deep ball to Van Jefferson. And then the other touchdown pass he threw to, was it Cooper Kupp? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bro, those are 2 of the nicest passes I have ever seen. And I wasn't like, I was trying not to be a person of the moment. It's not like I went and YouTube the best passes of all time in NFL history, which maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But bro, the deep ball, he was rolling out to his opposite side, squared up and launched that shit. And he was at the hashes, and that he got that pass in the end zone at like mid, like in the middle of the field, in the middle of the end zone. Like that is unbelievably hard to do. Like there's probably not many quarterbacks in the NFL, professional guys who get paid to do this shit, who can throw a ball like that. Just like you got the guys coming at you, got the defender coming at you, squares up, launches it. The second touchdown pass he threw to Cooper Kupp in the end zone, there, like if he throws it a centimeter,
even a hair, yeah,
like the other direction, top, low, higher or lower, it's an incomplete pass or it's dropped. He threw that, and it, like, some people were like, oh, he just got lucky and just like try to fit it in there. No, he didn't try. Like he knew where he had to throw it, and he did it. And he's like, I gotta throw it right there to only where my guy can get it. And God damn it, bro! Like I had to watch that a couple of times, and he threw that shit right where you couldn't play better defense than what the cornerback was playing, and he fit that shit right in there. So shout out to Matthew Stafford for throwing two of the best passes I've ever seen, and I'm going with the Rams.
So I have the Rams in this one. Cooper Kupp starts to remind me of Adam Thielen before Justin Jefferson was there. So Adam Thielen used to
Of course, you went with the white guy. Of course, you went with the white guy.
No,
you
so I said
you could have said any wide receiver in the entire National Football League. You went with the other only white receiver in the league. Christian, unbelievable. I have the stats to back it up.
And I say that because in terms of teams that play with 2 to 3 wide receivers consistently, how Kirk Cousins used Adam Thielen in terms of targets and touchdowns is very similar to how Matthew Stafford right now is using Cooper Kupp with targets and touchdowns. I could use Devontae Adams or Stephon Diggs, but then when I looked at the numbers, the targets that Adam Thielen had with Kirk Cousins at that time before Justin Jefferson matches up with Cooper Kupp, because Adam Thielen has started to regress since Justin Jefferson has been there. So pay attention if you think next year you're going to choose Cooper Kupp. If they keep Odell Beckham, numbers might be skewed a little bit because Odell Beckham can play a presence. I don't think Robert Woods is going to have an impact next year if he's even on the team because of all that they do have. The next one I want to bring up, I said the Rams, if I didn't say that. And I said it last week because I said they needed to win. That's really the only reason I said. But Ravens, Packers.
With or without Lamar Jackson?
It doesn't really matter. Yeah. So I have the Packers in this one. Reason being, the Ravens went from being at the top to now they're kind of just slowly dropping off too. So shout out to all the Ravens fans out there. But unless they get a receiver and they get more running backs outside of Mark Andrews as their only pass catcher, y'all don't really have a chance right now. So I have the Packers in that one. Saints, Bucks. Shout out Taysom Hill. He is balling like no tomorrow with interceptions.
Bucks.
So I have the Bucks in this one too. Final one, Bears, Vikings. That's not Bears. A good Monday Night Football game.
No, it's not. I'm going with the Bears though. I think they finally get a W.
So I have the Vikings in this one just because I don't think they can stop Justin Jefferson. No other reason. And Dalvin Cook just be crazy whenever he wants to play. So that's it. What you got for the people?
Yo, shout out to you, man. You finally finished school.
After 2,800 years.
Yeah, my guy finally did it. That's why he's sipping on that champagne. Big shout out to you. Big shout out to you. You've done, you did it.
So I remember when I first was starting, we were driving, I think we were going to Penn State or somewhere when I first said it. I was like, damn, that was a long time ago when that happened. But yeah, I bought like 10 bottles of wine today, and then I'll probably be drinking that going forward. I'll be doing a lot more with the podcast. So that was one thing I was going to say. A huge shout out to everybody that's been out there like supporting and dealing with everything that's been having to go through from everybody. You all know who you are. And then even on the show, like Steven has had to work his schedule around because I'll be like, oh, I can't do this day. Oh, I can do this day. But so thank you to family, Sierra, everybody, friends, everything like that. We got it going forward. Another thing I got to say, shout out to the government officials in Zimbabwe for always saying Bitcoin's not going to make it, because quite frankly, I had some people in other places and how I got all this Zimbabwe dollars. There ain't no way your money is worth anything when we got, what is this one right here? This says $1 billion.
Oh shit, bro! Nice. My guy's got 1 billion Zimbabwe dollars. Let's go, bro. Let's go.
What does this one say? $5 billion.
Oh shit, man! Dang.
So
It's probably equal to like 25 cents American dollars.
Exactly. And the wildest one, before I let everyone go, $10 trillion.
Yo, my man finished school and gets $10 trillion in Zimbabwe dollars. Let's go.
So the other one I want to shout out is I got to shout out to the Bolivar. So if you know, the Venezuelan dollars is some of the most shittiest dollars in the world, but I have $2,000 in Venezuelan Bolivar. So any of y'all think that this money is worth anything, you're wrong, because it's not. The other thing I want to say is shout out to everyone out there in the cryptocurrency space that's continuing to hold it down and do things. Pay attention to Ring Financial. That's the only time I say it. But I'm looking forward to everything going forward. Steve and I have a lot planned come next year. We have a lot planned for December in terms of talking about the bowl games coming up, in terms of diving deeper. I can go into different cryptocurrency things. We will be doing a lot more threads. We will be doing a lot on Twitter. So you will see the numbers on the We Got Next channel go up. Pay attention to giveaways and stuff too. Other than that, Steven, I think we out of here. So Christian, Steven, We Got Next. We out.
Peace.